Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hello, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, I'm going to be doing a hypnosis session all about missed opportunities. And it's one of my fascinations is how people can get stuck at a moment in their life. And as a hypnotherapist, I've seen this time and time again where people dwell on a moment. And that could be a moment of trauma, that could be a moment of pain, but many times it's a feeling that there was this one window of opportunity. And for some reason, at that point in time, that window of opportunity wasn't taken. Now, that could be many different things. That could be investment, business, relationships, buying a property. There's so many different things that in anyone's life, if you just stopped a random stranger and you said, what was the biggest missed opportunity? Here's the thing. Everyone has one. Everyone has many missed opportunities. What can happen, though, for certain individuals is they dwell on that missed opportunity. And what happens is there is the possibility of creating almost a separate timeline, a separate version of their reality that the other version of them took that opportunity. And that might be being in a relationship with someone. It might be setting up a business at a certain age rather than taking a job, different career pathway, different university education, whatever it might be. But they then entertain a fantasy of what that future would have been like. And of course, that future, because it doesn't have to deal with the realms of reality, can be perfect. And then what can happen is that there's this ongoing comparison that the life that you're living doesn't live up to this parallel life, which is somehow better through the missed opportunity. Now, there is no guarantee, of course, that the alternative missed opportunity would have been so great anyway. Quite often, if you look at the fable of the Midas touch, sometimes these things that we think are so amazing and then the most amazing opportunities quite often has a ripple effect of unforeseen circumstances that aren't that desirable. And sometimes the most painful moments of our lives are actually where we learn the most and grow the most. And the good times quite often can have negative side effects. Now, of course, there's exceptions to this, but there is no guarantee that the missed opportunity was going to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. So this hypnosis session is really designed to do two key things. One, buy into this idea that there is always going to be more opportunities. And even if it can't be the exact opportunity, there will be similar opportunities or different opportunities that have the same essence of the original opportunity that just come up in different guises. So one, if you keep your eyes peeled for these opportunities, they're going to come up again, albeit they might look different. The second is to be most grateful for the life that you have, as opposed to regretful of the life that you have and appreciative of a life that you're not experiencing. Because that is a recipe for dissatisfaction, for regret, for resentment. And rarely are these emotions useful emotions. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy this session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a feeling of resourcefulness. In this session, you don't need to be relaxed. So just breathe in that resourceful feeling and allow anything undesirable to leave your body. Hold on to that tension if you wish. Here, in this moment, nothing is wrong and nothing is right. It's just ideas going in and out. Theories that can be explored. Here in this moment, we can travel forwards and backwards in time, exploring different realities, parallel universes. Windows of opportunity open and they close. And in every case, there are opportunities bigger than the missed opportunities. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to get a sense that life is a game. There are rules to this game, and there are agendas and objectives of this game. There are some people that want to win the game of life. But winning the game of life is entirely dependent on how you measure the score. Some people will measure winning at life based on how high they can climb that career ladder. For other people, it might be how much money or material wealth they can accumulate. For others, it might be the value of the experiences and the relationships that they build, the friendships, the moments. And for others, perhaps raising children that they can look at and be proud of. And for many people, life is looked at not through one primary measurement, but through an ongoing sense of the emotional state that they experience most of the time. In its most simplest form, if you're angry, resentful, and frustrated most of the time, depending on the rules of your game, you could argue that you're losing at that game of life. And if you're feeling joy and gratitude, feeling enriched on this journey, then maybe you're winning that game of life. I want you to get a sense that sometimes life will repeat certain scenarios again and again. And maybe the objective is to learn something about you in these moments so that you can level up in this game of life, so that anything similar means that you know how to handle those situations when they come back round again. I want you to think of any game that you played as a child, a card game, a board game, maybe even a physical game like a sport. You weren't that good the first time you attempted, but the more you played, the better you got. And sometimes there were games that you just thought you were good at, or thought you enjoyed. And wasn't it the case that those games that you enjoyed or were good at, you wanted to play more often? And the games you didn't enjoy or weren't so good at, you tended to avoid. I want you to think that the game of life is not a single game, but many games within games. There is the game of career or business, the game of fitness and health, the game of relationships and friendships, the game of learning, of wisdom. I want you to get a sense that if you figured out that you didn't enjoy playing certain games, perhaps when it came to money or health, what if you decided that you just didn't want to play that game? Instead, maybe you focused on the game that you were good at, perhaps studying, perhaps work, perhaps a role that just naturally lent itself to your skill set or value system. Maybe being a boss or being a parent. Isn't it the case that you did more of what you were good at, more of what you enjoyed, and less of those things that didn't quite fit? I want you to get a sense, therefore, if life is just games within games, and each of these games can give you different insight, but nobody gave you the rule book of these games. You had to figure them out through life, through learning. And all of these games can't necessarily be won. You just elevate up to the very next level. Wouldn't it be the case that in each of these games there would be what we can consider opportunities? I want you to get a sense that in any area of your life there would be opportunities. There would be opportunities to travel, to experience adventure. There would be opportunities to prioritize career or business. There would be opportunities for dramatic wealth creation by investing in an idea or an asset at just the right time. You could say there were opportunities to learn certain things from certain people. And there were opportunities, key decisions that when you made a decision, sent your life off in a different direction, a different trajectory. And in doing so, it cut off many other opportunities. I want you to get a sense that in this game of life, there are many games. And in each section of life, there are many opportunities. Sometimes, what feels like a missed opportunity could be a blessing. I want you to get a sense that in your life, there may be what you consider the biggest missed opportunity. Maybe it relates to business, career, a relationship, or something else. I want you to think back to that moment, but observe yourself like you are someone else. And here's the key thing. That moment was in the past. And the very idea that we've defined it as a missed opportunity has more to do with, perhaps, the fact that we know what happens next. But back then you didn't. You didn't know what would follow. I want you to get a sense that from this perspective, the future in relation to that moment looking back, maybe that missed opportunity was just bad luck. Maybe you can extract some knowledge by saying, knowing what I now know, if I could go back in time and make a different decision, what would I do differently? Not to change the past, but to extract the lesson from that moment. Everyone's had that experience of coming out of a meeting, coming out of some kind of interaction, and then replaying it again and again and again in your mind. Most people don't know why, but it is your unconscious mind using the frame of hindsight to say, how would I have wanted it to have been? Not to change that moment, but so that if you encounter anything similar to that moment again, you then have the benefit of this hindsight, this wisdom that you can then unconsciously apply in that context. So I want you to think back to that moment and thinking, knowing what I now know, what would I have done differently? And test out scenario after scenario. What would you, could you have done differently back then? And once you see a scenario that you're most happy with, imagine jumping back into that version of you and then feeling how you would feel if it was a different way. If you got to do it as you wanted it to happen. And if it feels good and you feel that now you could take that opportunity in a different way, knowing what you now know, then the value of that moment was this lesson. I want you to think of what future moments could be similar to that missed opportunity. How could you engineer them? What would be the clues? What would be the signals that you are in a similar situation? Maybe the people are different. Maybe the time is different. But you get a sense that the scenario is similar. Knowing what you now know, what could you do if you encountered a similar situation to that? And you don't know if this is imminent or further off in your future. And maybe it never arises in the way that you expect it to. But I wonder what you would need to see, what you would need to know, what resources you would need to have in place so that if that opportunity arose, how could you move on it? How could you take it? They say that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So what could you do to get lucky? What could you do to be prepared? What would have to happen? What would you have to happen almost to create an air of expectation that an opportunity will present itself. People worry about one or two missed opportunities without realizing opportunities are infinite. There are millions of opportunities every day. And in many cases, we're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. We have no idea that these opportunities are available. Think about your past and figure out how many good things have happened in your life based on entirely unpredictable events. Randomly meeting a particular person, being in the right place at the right time, just to give you a sense that opportunities are infinite. I want you to give yourself permission to be open-minded to the infinite nature of opportunities. If you believe that you missed that one opportunity, you're giving yourself a hypnotic suggestion that opportunities are few and far between. That if you miss one opportunity, then that can ruin your life. Which, even though it isn't true, can create a self-fulfilling prophecy where you feel like your one opportunity, your golden opportunity, you wasted. You didn't shoot your shot at that particular point in time. Whereas if you truly believe there are infinite opportunities, and that the opportunities that are meant for you will keep coming by until you take them. The people will change, the location will change, but the essence of what makes it an opportunity will come knocking again and again. What's the alternative? To live a life where you believe that the life you're living is just a shadow of the life you could have had. Why would you voluntarily believe that you're living a life worth less than you're capable of? Unless, of course, you want to be a martyr, a victim, telling everyone that what you could have been, that idea you had but someone else followed up on it, that you would have been famous if just X, Y, and Z happened. Or you can believe that there are infinite opportunities and that your primary concern is not to find the opportunities, but to be discerning with the opportunities. That there are so many opportunities that you just have to screen out all of the bad ones. The very best actors in the world are given endless scripts. And sometimes, because they turn down so many scripts, that movie that they turn down goes on to be a blockbuster, a phenomenal success, and yet they don't complain. They keep reading the scripts, keep considering their options, learning from each and every experience, and then choosing what to say yes to. I want you to get a sense that opportunities are not things that happen once. Opportunities are more like trains and buses, that even if you miss one, sure enough, another will come round soon. The most important thing is to be prepared to catch that bus or that train when it stops in front of you. To know the right bus to catch, to know what destination it's moving towards, and to be able and willing to catch that bus knowing that you can't simultaneously pursue multiple opportunities at exactly the same time. I want you to get a sense that any really big opportunity at some level requires a decision, which also means it requires a sacrifice. People think and talk about opportunities without realizing there is an opportunity cost. That whenever you say yes to something, you're also saying no to something else. But in doing so, you're creating the possibility of something amazing. I want you to get a sense that the only true way to lose this game of life is to not take any opportunity, to focus on all the things that can go wrong, and therefore stay in the safety of inaction forever. When you take the opportunities, you either win or you learn. The opportunity either gives you something amazing, or it gives you a lesson which sometimes can be more valuable than whatever the success would have been from that opportunity. Sometimes the best opportunities are not the ones you hang around waiting for. They're the ones that you create yourself. Many times, people created the very business that they weren't fortunate enough to get a job in. Sometimes good intentions, desires are dashed. There was a tractor manufacturer in Italy that admired the cars of Ferrari and told Ferrari how much he liked those cars. But Mr. Ferrari was disrespectful to the lowly tractor owner. And rather than looking at that missed opportunity, that tractor owner decided that he would create his own company to make amazing, beautiful cars. That tractor owner was Lamborghini. I want you to get a sense that you are unlocking a belief system that if the door of opportunity does not open for you, you will simply make it yourself. You will make the door, you will knock on the door, and you will open and walk through that very door of opportunity, knowing that there is the possibility of untold success and positivity for you. As you now return to the present, feeling like you're in your own body listening to my voice, feeling excited about the infinite opportunities and that desire to be discerning about which opportunities you follow up on, which opportunities you take, and weighing up the risk and reward of saying yes or no to any opportunity. You will awaken feeling optimistic, positive, feeling like many exciting opportunities will gravitate your way, starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.